Nation of Fitin10, it is day 33 and the scans are complete, or just about complete. There's still one person missing. So hopefully we get that person in as soon as possible. Overall scans were good. They were actually a little bit better than the average. But I will say that we did have a little extra time. I typically do the scans just into week 4, and then this time we did them just actually into week 5. So we did them maybe about 5 days late, which is not a big deal because we at some point have to do a longer wait time, longer than 3 weeks, because it's a 10-week program and there's only 2 scans between your first and your last. Overall, very good. Listen, I've seen it before where people have not done well in the beginning and have done really well in the end. And I've seen people do really well in the beginning and then not do well in the end. So it just really depends. It certainly doesn't dictate anything. I want to remind you that if you plan and prepare your food, your workouts, so when I say prepare for your workouts, I just mean having everything ready to go and putting it in your calendar, planning out when you're going to do it. Of course, if you're registering for the classes, makes that planning a bit easier, right? Same with your cardio, plan it out as well. This whole challenge is really about organization and planning and time management as well. Right? Managing your time well, especially if you have a busy schedule. Where there is a will, there is a way. I understand that the preparation of food doesn't include that 4.5 hours of exercise. But for a lot of you, you're already planning, you're already preparing foods, you're making recipes, you're doing all that stuff, you're cooking. Really the only difference is we are just becoming more aware of the foods and spending some time figuring out what to eat. Of course, as the challenge goes on, hopefully you're experiencing this by this point, you kind of already know what you like and what you don't like, which foods are proteins, which ones are carbohydrates, which ones are fat, at least, on a basic level, at least with the foods you're eating. And so it makes it much easier going forward. One other thing I want to say is if you want to chat with me on any particular topic, please feel free. A lot of people have already done this. I either have a phone conversation with them or we meet in person. I always prefer meeting in person, so if you want to meet with me, please just let me know. Okay, just send me a DM in Slack. Okay, especially if you're struggling with anything. Okay, is there a difference in quality of various foods that fit the same macros? Example, sweet potato versus rice versus pasta. So this is a great question, and when we talk about quality of foods, this is a really hard one to measure because it really depends on how we want to define quality. I mean, we can think about this in terms of a spectrum of nutrients. We can think about this on a spectrum of allergies, for instance. Some foods you can eat and you won't have a problem with, and other ones you can eat and you're going to have big problems. We can think about this in terms of how foods make us feel. Okay, and this might be due to an allergy, but it might be due to something else. For example, bananas are known to really produce serotonin in the brain, which will make you much more relaxed, but it doesn't apply to everybody, at least not to the same degree. So it really depends on what we're trying to define here. But usually when we talk about quality of food, we're talking about micronutrients and phytonutrients, these other types of nutrients that don't fall in the category of vitamins or minerals. This is a hard one. So really what I'm going to suggest in this case is to try to eat real whole food. Eat the foods that you find digest well. So for instance, for me, if I eat, let's say, a whole wheat bread, I don't feel good on that. I tend to feel very sluggish, and this lasts for actually a couple days, more than a couple days. If I eat white rice in particular, this seems to really agree with me, digest well, and I feel fine with it. So you really have to find those foods that do well for you. I feel better on white rice than I do brown rice. Brown rice is more nutrient dense, but I feel better with white rice. I tend to digest that much easier. I don't seem to get as bloated, probably just because there isn't as much fiber in it. So it just depends. My suggestion, eat as much real whole food as you can. I mean, I'm talking about a percentage of your diet, right? Within your macros, of course, within your caloric amount that I give you of the foods that agree with you. And then on top of that, I would take a really good multivitamin. I'm gonna highly recommend Total Defense. That is the new one I'm carrying. The average serving size, or the size that I take in terms of capsules. And keep in mind, this is more than just a multivitamin mineral. This is a fruit and vegetable extract as well. So basically, it's covering all your bases, all your micros, your phytonutrients, all these little nutrients that serve us well. Some are considered essential, of course, and others perhaps not essential, but are good for us and they produce good outcomes. So I would take that product. I highly recommend it in addition to the foods. It's really hard to say, ultimately, if you're eating a real whole food diet, your amount of nutrients that you're getting, especially essential nutrients, are going to be higher than otherwise, but that doesn't guarantee that you're getting everything you need. So taking a good potent multivitamin mineral, vegetable and fruit extract is really the way to go. And this just provides you with an assurance, okay, or insurance. Okay, so again, it depends on how we want to. When we talk about quality, it depends on how we're going to define this, right? How do we define quality? It really, really depends. There's so many different aspects to this. Okay, let's move along to the next question here. Okay, this person writes, I didn't get as many daily steps in this week with the rain. Make more of an effort this week regardless of the weather. Yes. So again, set yourself up with a certain daily amount, or maybe this is daily. So daily amount, and then do your best to meet it. And again, look through the day at your daily steps and say, okay, well, I'm off, so I better go for a 10 or 15 minute or maybe half an hour walk. Is there anything you'd like me to cover in this week's video series? What changes can we expect you to make to our diet and cardio over the next 7 weeks? All right, well, there's 5.5 now. Obviously, I'm a bit behind in these. In short, not a huge amount. So it's not about, okay, now we got to really cut down on the calories, or it's not about, okay, now we're going to really ramp things up. Am I going to change it? Yeah, I'm going to make some changes. Will that make a difference? Yes, it will make some difference. Will it be a massive difference? No. So really, in the grand scheme of things, not a huge change. It's really about being consistent, digging away every day, and this adds up over the long haul. It's not about, and I'm sure you've heard me say this before, it's not about like, okay, it's the first day or whatever, okay, we're gonna go super hard, we're gonna really cut down the calories, and then we're just gonna go like that day after day. No, you're just gonna burn out. You're gonna be able to do it for a short period of time. Yeah, you're gonna lose more weight in that period of time, but then you're just gonna fall out of it. You need to find something sustainable. As you've heard me say many, many times, it needs to be sustainable. In order for it to be sustainable, it has to be reasonable, right? So the changes, nothing really major, okay? All right, let's get to the message of the day. The message of the day is, if you're gonna quit anything, quit procrastinating, quit making excuses, quit waiting for the right time, and quite frankly, quit thinking about it, right? We just have to hop into it and do it. Essentially, you don't really have to think about it because it's all laid out for you, meaning you don't have to figure it out. You just follow the system. I'm not saying it's easy. By no means will it be easy. It was never meant to be easy. I don't think anything of any great value is ever going to be easy in terms of attaining. It's just the way it is. So it's okay to quit these things, right? These things that are going to hold us back, but we want to keep forging ahead, keep persevering in this challenge, of course, never quitting what we are after. If it's important to us, keep going. If it's important to you, keep going. Whatever, challenge or something else. If it's important to you, keep striving towards it, okay? Positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself. For the love of God, give some gratitude. I'll talk to you very soon. See you guys.